Welcome to the Deep Dive into Agile Marketing Podcast with your host, John Cass. Together, we'll take a closer look at the ins and outs of marketing through an Agile lens. You'll learn from interviews with top Agile thought leaders and practitioners and gain fresh new insights for your journey. Let's get ready to dive in.
Welcome to the Deep Dive into Agile Marketing. I'm your host, John Cass, here in Boston, Massachusetts. Today, I'll be interviewing Andrea Fryrear, CEO and founder of AgileSherpas. Welcome, Andrea.
Thanks so much for having me, John. Looking forward to the conversation.
Well, it's great to have you on the show. You've are one of the leading thought leaders in the country, I think, on Agile marketing, especially with your wonderful research that you do every year. Thank you so much for all the service that you do to marketing with that research and all the efforts that you do to support the marketing community.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. It's one of my favorite things that we do every year. We actually just started talking about our 9th report just last week with the team. So we're excited about keeping that tradition going.
Well, that's great. That's great. And, we're looking into new things, I think, in this call. AgileSherpas focuses on coaching Agile to marketers. What's your thinking on how AI can support Agile coaches?
Yeah, it's been a really interesting year for me because I have this kind of weird seat looking at how AI affects coaching because, I wear a CEO hat thinking about like how does AI need to influence how I run a business? And then I also do some coaching. So how is AI, affecting the way that we coach? And then I'm also a marketer, right? So I help run the marketing for AgileSherpas. So looking at how AI is coming into all of those different spaces has given me a really interesting point of view and a lot of different, sometimes conflicting perspectives on where it belongs. But I think there's really huge opportunities in all of those spaces. But I think the first thing for coaching in particular that we have to start from is above all things, maintaining the trust and confidentiality that our clients are giving to us when we enter into a coaching relationship. And it's pretty easy, a lot easier now than it was even a year ago to get versions of accounts, whatever your LLM of choice is, that allows you to put in information or have conversations with the LLM that don't use whatever you're putting in to train the model, right? But above all things, right, you need to make sure that you have set up an instance that is not risking in any way surfacing conversations or proprietary information or anything out into the world. So, like above all, I think we have to start from that as the baseline. We have like a professional version of ChatGPT that we use that's just nothing that we put into it is going to be used to train the model. Period. That's it. And so then I feel comfortable like uploading AgileSherpas financials to it, right? And then I can talk to it about that. Or if we have stuff from a client, I can put it in there and be like, show me the patterns, like let's talk about what's going on because I know it's not going anywhere. It's stuck in our computer. It's not going anywhere. So, just being really, really careful, I think, is above all things where we have to start with the coaching stuff.
Are you using it to develop that information over time? I think the term is human in the loop, where so that over time you're developing within that private system expertise that can help improve the model and help your teams?
Yeah, it helps a lot when we have multiple people on our team supporting a single client, right? Because then they can engage with, we use a tool called Anything LLM. And so again, it's allowing for us to have a kind of safely walled instance where 2 or more people on our team can communicate with like one GPT and go back and forth about what's going on with a client safely. Um, but then we've also trained our own custom GPT, which we call it the Sherpa bot, which is just trained on our IP. And so that started out as our way to get faster and more reliable answers to coaching and training questions because we've been doing this for the better part of a decade now. So we have huge amounts of uh, collateral and stuff that we've built over the years. And so it started out as just a thing that we used internally to try to get a hold of the right piece of content to show a client or the right piece of content to share with ourselves internally when somebody had a question. But now it's gotten to the point where we bundle it with other things and sell it to our clients because now it's good enough that we are confident that it's a great asset that we can now bundle up with our other offerings. And these are the kinds of things that I think are really low-hanging fruit type things. These are easy ways that coaches can augment ourselves and extend out what we've always been able to do and makes us faster, more efficient at just sort of baseline coaching activities. And these are easy first steps that we can do. And coaches are being expected to support more teams in a lot of instances. If you're an internal coach, especially, I see this a lot with our clients. You used to be maybe supporting one or two teams, and now it might be 5, 7, 10 teams that you're being asked to support. And you can't do that without some kind of up level inefficiency. And that's really where AI is so, so good. So why not use it
Oh,
wherever
definitely.
you can?
What's the feedback from the team, especially sort of the people with more experience, but then the new people come in? What have team members said in using the system?
Yeah, it's a good point. It really does kind of shorten the onboarding and shorten the time to subject matter expertise, right? You can accelerate people's ability to get up to speed in a lot of areas. So there's less time of, okay, you have to orient yourself to this whole universe of like our Google instance, right? Of here's where all the slides live, and here's where all of this lives, and here's where all of that lives. And our blog is massive, right? We have hundreds of articles in there now. Well, you don't have to worry about that because the Sherpa bot just knows all of that, right? It knows where all of it is, and you can ask it a question. And not only will it summarize based only on our IP, not, kind of some of the junk that is out on the internet, but it will link to the source. And so we don't have to spend 2 weeks orienting a new Sherpa on all of our stuff. The Sherpa bot just points them to where they need to go. So it does really speed up the ability to get people up to speed. And the other interesting thing that we've been able to do with it is we partner with non-marketing agilists with
Yeah,
internally with clients pretty often because they have these kind of internal agile centers of excellence, right? Or a LACE or something, right? Um, but they want to support the marketers, but they don't have marketing expertise. And so
right.
now it's easier for us to come in and we have this pre-packaged agile marketing expert almost that we can say this Sherpa bot can be with you all the time. And we still do need to be there as the human in the loop, right?
Right.
We need to be available for coaching and training, but we can support more clients because now we have this always available Sherpa bot. So we can get those non-marketing agilists up to speed faster. They can be better support to the marketers. We can support more clients. So like everybody's kind of able to up level faster and be in more places better through the use of AI, again, in a responsible and like safe way. This isn't something that we've just done overnight. This is now like a year plus worth of work that we've been doing. So, and I think it's also really important. I think this is true with marketing as well. You have to come from a baseline of expertise as well. Like someone who has zero agile knowledge, you could not hand this to them and they could be a coach tomorrow, right? You do have to have expertise already for this to be a good tool in someone's hands.
Well, it is the case. I mean, that you have marketing professionals or creative professionals, or in this case, agile marketing coaches who are professionals, and the tools assist them, right? Yeah, they're there to assist them in that process.
Hey marketers, Deborah Eckerling here.
And I'm Keith Smith, and we host the MPN Meta Marketing Show, which is not just another marketing podcast, but the marketing podcast about all the other marketing podcasts.
Podcasts are booming, right? We love them, and people actually listen. They don't scroll, they don't swipe, well, except maybe during the ad breaks.
But here's the secret. With the Marketing Podcast Network, your ads don't make people hit skip. We put your brand on shows that people actually want to hear.
That's right. We match your message with podcasts that make marketing nerds like us perk up and take notes, or at least nod knowingly, pretending they understand.
And don't worry, because we'll deliver your ad naturally. People might even think that we love your brand personally, which of course we totally do, unless it's a veggie smoothie, then maybe not.
If you want your brand heard without making listeners roll their eyes,
head to marketingpodcasts.net and catch marketing fans at work, rest, and play. Seriously, your audience is already listening. Make sure they hear your brand and not our awkward jokes.
Join the conversation, because good ads shouldn't just be tolerated, they should be enjoyed.
Yes!
Let's go to our sponsor. What are the clients saying with those folks who are non-marketers? I'm curious to know, because that's something, especially when I was running the in-person Boston Agile Marketing meetup, we'd get Agile coaches coming all the time, and they wouldn't have expertise. And there was only one or two people that I recall who I think those colleagues in the industry who took the time to get to know what marketers do and how their approach to culture is. What are those folks saying? Has it been a help to them?
Yeah, I think the people who have the right level of respect for non-technical colleagues, right, who are saying, I want to help these people, but I am willing to admit that I need to level up myself, are really excited to have something that allows them to do that quickly and efficiently. We work with marketing departments who are being squeezed right now. Like, their budgets are tight. And so if we're able to provide a more cost-effective solution, and this is more cost-effective, right? Being able to do something that cuts down on the number of hours that a human has to be involved with an account is more cost-effective. So if we can support at still a very high level, and it's more cost-effective, clients are happy. I'm happy as a business owner because I can support more clients. Like, this is so far, right? Again, newer way of engaging with clients. This isn't how we're doing it with 100% of our clients yet, because especially we have a lot of highly regulated clients. And so they're still navigating with their internal IT teams, like, what's okay? What can we share? Like, what are we allowed to give and upload, right? Even no matter how safe we say we are, there's still a lot of like, nope, we can't, do anything. And so everybody's at different levels of comfort and capability of what we can do, but everybody's moving really fast, I think, in this direction. So I think it's going to be more and more the norm. And the internal coaches are really excited, in my experience, because they're being asked to stay relevant. A lot of, over 90% of software and IT teams are using Agile. So if you're an internal Agile CFE, you need to show relevance. You need to be on the cutting edge somewhere, right? So coming into non-technical spaces is a good way to do it. And if you can partner with somebody like us to do it well and, do it cost effectively, we see a lot of excitement in that space.
I almost wonder, Andrea, if it's going to make it easier to sell agile marketing.
I hope so. I hope so.
That's a good consequence. What about using agents and experimentation? Any insights on those two aspects?
Yeah, I'm super excited about the agentic stuff. Really working hard to figure out how to bring that in as the next level, because I think that's really like a huge opportunity. If we could have the agent whose job it is to just listen to your instant messages, right, amongst the team and analyze them for sentiment and if, what's going on in the instant messages. And then there's another agent who is just watching your agile meetings, right? Your daily stand-ups and your retrospectives and your sprint plannings, right? And are they working? Are they not working? Where are the opportunities for improvement? And then you have another one that is just looking at your project management outputs, right? Are the cards aging out? Are they getting to done when they're supposed to be? And then all of those agents are sharing their insights with the agentic coach who's collating all of them and then providing recommendations to your human coach. And all of this is like happening in real time. That to me is like next level exciting because you're getting that huge level of efficiency. It's still really, really accurate and insightful, but we're not taking it away from that human intervention as well. Because knowing what's wrong is only part of the equation. You still have to have a human who can empathetically communicate whatever that output is, and then work with the humans on the other end of it to say, okay, what are we going to do about all of that information that just came out of that orchestra of agents? Because that's really where the magic is going to happen is what are you going to do about all this information that we just got? And you still need humans for that,
Right.
like humans helping humans work more effectively. That's what coaches are amazing at. And so to me, none of this is threatening to coaches. This should be just, we can help more people. This should be amazingly exciting. We can get out there and help more teams in a more, we can be more confident because it takes some of the objectivity out of it as well. We can get more like confident about the data, about the recommendations that we're making. So I think agents can really just like tighten it all up, get it rolled up faster, where it relies on clients allowing us into their systems, I think is the big hurdle that we're going to have to get over. But everyone's going to get there. It's just, we might take a little time. Everyone will eventually get there exactly the same way that everybody eventually got APIs hooked up to everything and nobody worries about it. Now we're going to get there with MCPs eventually. It's just going to take a little while. But I'm super jazzed about what's going to be there in 6, 9 months.
Well, it is exciting, and when I think about AI and what it means for marketing in general, not just coaches, there's for the profession. When I think of it, has been so overwhelmed, right? Not the possibility to do everything, and to me, finally, for marketers, they're actually able to do the things that they wanted to do, and it's capable. But just because we can do more and faster, should we? Especially if that impacts project quality. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's important in coaching and in marketing too, right? Like it's not just a race to the quantity number, because just as a coach, coaching more teams is not my metric. And as a marketer, like putting out more blog posts is not my metric. So I think it's the outcomes over output thing always. And so if I'm coaching a lot of teams, but they're not getting better, then I'm not doing my job. And if I'm putting out a lot of content, but it's not moving the needle from a business perspective, I'm not doing my job. So for me, it is always the quality component.
Have you seen any circumstances? So what are you seeing across the teams that you're coaching with the use of AI and them grappling? Because there are some concerns, right? And because it's new, essentially, it's a cultural change, it's a digital transformation. What are you seeing? Are you seeing just increased outputs or better improvements? And what are people's thoughts about this and how they're handling it?
I mean, what we're seeing is faster time to insight, I think, on our side.
Yeah.
So in that case, it's speed speed to quality, I guess.
Right.
We are able to more quickly collate a lot of information. So we're kind of getting to the same place that our coaches would have got to before. We're just able to get there faster.
Right.
And I think that's for the marketers that I talk to as well and that we're working with. I think that's a lot of what the really good ones are doing as well. They're getting to the same place they would have gotten to from a quality perspective and an outcome perspective. They're just doing it faster. So it's not like it's the same thing we've said in Agile for a long time, right? This is not just do crappy work faster. That's not the point of Agile, and it's not the point of AI. The point is, how can we accomplish great things faster and more efficiently, right? And that's why AI and Agile go together so well, because that's what they're both trying to do. We just have different kind of paths, and then when you do them both together, magic.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
Let's go to our sponsor. You've been working over the years to evangelize Agile to the marketing profession. I don't know. I see this moment with AI as an opportunity for us to go out into the community once again and say Agile can be used to help implement AI. I mean, do you see it in the same way?
Oh, 100%. Like we've really doubled down over the summer of just saying you cannot hope to meet this moment of extreme change and extreme volatility without some level of agility. Whether it's kind of capital A Agile, of course, I think that's what everyone needs, and you should get there as quickly as possible. Uh, but some level of agility is table stakes. Like you're hosed if you don't have something. Everything's moving too fast. The level of change has just ratcheted up. We've actually had a couple of clients now come to us and say, we tried to implement AI, our processes broke completely. Like we just could not do it. So now they've had to like take a step back, fix process with us, and then they'll come back and try AI again. So I think people are experiencing this,
Yeah.
really viscerally experiencing it, because we can say it as much as, we till we're blue in the face. But as people are actually experiencing it happening more and more, then I think we're going to see more and more people saying, all right, fine. Like operations processes really, really matter. And I think we're going to see a lot more adoption in 2026. That's what I really hope is about to happen.
You're reminding me of 30 years ago, Gordon Graham, who was a inventory management guru, wrote a book called Inventory Management, and he was talking about the time of change between manual accounting systems and computer accounting systems. And he said, if you have a bad system and you computerize it, it just makes it worse. It makes it faster. And that's basically digital transformation. And I think you make a really good point there, which is it's really about getting that process down much better than it was. How do you think we're going to see the tenure of CMOs lengthen because they'll be able to use AI and Agile to solve some of these fundamental issues that they have with working with the company C-suite to explain how marketing can really propel things? I mean, I know that's a complicated question, but I just so believe, Andrea, that Agile can help with that process and lengthen. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I completely agree that using Agile in that senior leadership role is the antidote to that kind of CMO revolving door problem. I'm just afraid that we kind of might have to have a bit more churn of some legacy folks in that role who are not ready to kind of embrace what's going on right now before you get enough enough people embracing it, once you kind of get enough people in that role who are embracing AI, embracing Agile, then I think it will stabilize, right? And you will see the tenure lengthen. I'm not sure we're there yet. I think we have maybe still a fair number of legacy folks. It depends on the industry that we're talking about. Um,
Well, you just got me thinking, actually. I mean, I'm seeing reports here in Massachusetts from different school districts that seventh, ninth, and 10th graders aren't doing very well on tests, right? And they're not really talking about why. And then because I've got, a middle schooler, I recall, wait a minute, there was the pandemic and they weren't doing anything for it. So perhaps the reason we saw CMOs shorten their tenure is because of that digital transformation. There was a fundamental. We've gone through 20 years of digital transformation and change, right? I mean, the profession is just not the same as it was 25 years ago, and the internet has changed all that. So in some ways, isn't it to be expected that the tenure would shorten just because of that? And you make a very good point that if AI is coming along and that's going to have as much impact as the internet did, won't that won't we see a drop before we see a rise?
hmm Yeah, I think we very well might. Although I did an episode on my own podcast recently about the CM like what CMOs need to unlearn to kind of thrive. And one of the data points that I saw, I'm gonna miscite the source, I think it was Gartner,
Yeah,
was that even though a lot of CMOs are leaving or being asked to leave roles, a lot of them are moving either parallel or higher, like into a bigger org or, something like that. And so it's a little bit of an interesting contradiction in some ways of like maybe we're just getting better at identifying when an org is not a fit
right.
culturally or skill set wise. So there's a lot of push-pull, I think, in the data about maybe this is just the norm because younger generations don't stay in jobs as long, right? And so maybe that's just what's happening is we're getting more younger folks getting into senior roles who are just like, I don't want to be here longer than 5 years, regardless of where it is or what the role is. And maybe we're just seeing the effects of some of that.
Well, the other side to that is that the CMO might actually be doing a really good job of digital transformation, but they're not able to enact it, right? And so culturally, they come across a company that isn't giving them the path that they need on their
Mhm.
journey, and so they make that lateral move as
Yep.
a consequence. And
Right.
so I'm not going to stay here because they're not letting me. So and I've always believed that agile is that. I mean, the processes are okay, and that's, sort of a given. But to me, it's that cultural transformation. That's really the value of Agile. It's having that deeper conversation, especially in the marketing profession, between marketing and the other stakeholders. Um, do you think that AI will make it easier for the non-marketers to understand, hey, maybe it wasn't the marketer that was the issue, maybe it was how we're doing things?
I wish I could say yes. My concern is that in a lot of places, AI is being looked at as the tech people's domain again, right? It's being implemented by IT and software first, and
Right.
they are the gatekeepers. And so I'm afraid we're going to have a similar issue where it's like they went first, it's their thing, and they're kind of like handing it out to other functions. And so if marketing doesn't get it right, it's marketing's fault. Um, I don't know. I'm
Well, yeah,
concerned
no,
that
and I
yeah.
totally get that because we had that problem right in 2015. I remember analysts coming out and saying CMOs are destined to handle digital transformation, and then the next year it was no, the CIO is going to be doing it.
Yeah. So I
But
don't I don't know. I think it's still very early, right? And there's still a lot of opportunity for marketers to prove ourselves, for CMOs to prove themselves as capable of being involved in this conversation. Um, but we gotta speak business, we have to speak technology. We can't just speak, fluffy brand and awareness metrics. We got to get in here and not repeat past mistakes of,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Well, I think part of it is about data and being able to communicate it. So the reason I believe that IT people are seen as strong partners within a company is because they have a controlled environment, right? Whereas marketers, we don't have a controlled environment because one, we've got customers who can make other decisions, and two, you've got competitors who are changing. It's a chaotic environment. Marketers, if you will, they're the managers of chaos. I mean, not that you can. So they have a much more difficult relationship. Do you think AI can help marketers, the CMO, to do a better job of providing the data and showing what they're that it's impossible to manage chaos? It's really difficult.
I think it could, but it's reliant on your existing data in so many cases. Like it requires you to input, like AI needs information to give you, to draw conclusions, to give you guidance. And so if you have crappy existing data, it's not really going to help you. So you've got to feed it something. And so people who are already starting behind because they haven't been collecting good data, they don't have any data, like AI is not that really that much more helpful in drawing conclusions or proving ROI or any of these things that we should be doing and need to be doing. So, kind of back to our conversation about good processes and good operations are necessary, like good data is necessary. And if you don't have it, your AI is not this magic cure for this really problematic missing piece of modern marketing. Like you still need data. AI is not going to magically produce it for you. You still need a good process. AI is not going to magically produce it for you. You have to do these foundational, kind of unsexy things if you want to be able to do the really amazing client, customer, business facing, sexy things that get you all the like accolades. Those don't happen unless you have these foundational pieces.
Well, I think about it this way, right? With marketing consultancy, where I'm working with a client, it's a lot easier for me to make a recommendation if I can show that customers or competitors are doing something. So I wonder if CMOs can work with the stakeholders, especially if they're in a difficult communication situation, and say, well, let's put the data in and let's see what the systems shows. Do you think some of that will happen where oh, it's not me, the marketer is saying it is the system, which is kind of bizarre, I know. And the system was developed by the marketer, so actually it's them talking. Do you think that's
Yeah, I
going to
mean
happen?
that type of even appearance of objectivity can help a lot, right? And even if it's just like industry benchmark data, right? Even if you
Right.
don't have your own data, if you can say industry data tells us this, or competitor data tells us this, customer behavior data tells us this. So let's feed it into the system and see what it recommends, right? So this isn't my idea. Like you're saying, it takes some of that he said, she said kind of stuff out of it because everybody thinks they can be a marketer if they've ever opened a website or they've ever opened an email, right? They have great ideas and none of our ideas matter anymore. It can save us from some of those really fun and circular arguments. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Well,
You
it's
just got to
also
get
one of the
clever.
reasons why I think Agile's so good in changing culture within both the marketing department, but also the company in general. I think the very process brings an element of objectivity that has a different conversation. And that I mean, do you find that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially if you get into like a true scaled implementation throughout the organization, because then you're into true visibility, cross-functional collaboration. Everybody is showing and telling their work often, right? And it's all out there. And we should all be talking about performance data and KPIs and OKRs, right? And all of these things should be out there and the system should be visible. And so then it does become a much more adult data-driven conversation, including marketing, and marketing should be involved farther upstream and not just, hey, we built this thing, good luck to you. I hope that you can sell it now, and we can be involved, during product development conversations and feature development conversations, which often makes them much, much better, right? Instead of waiting until we're at the very, very end of the line. So, I love it when we get to see marketing get involved in the whole system level conversation. Everybody benefits, right? The customers get better stuff, the business gets better outcomes, marketers are happier because they're not order takers anymore, they're a strategic partner. Everybody benefits from it. But it takes a long time, and it's a cultural up leveling. Everybody has to come along, and it's not a 1 quarter project. This is a multi-year effort. And you have to have sustained executive sponsorship. And back to our churn conversation earlier, that's hard to sustain sometimes in these big organizations. But once you get there, it's really awesome. It's really amazing to see.
Well, great. Well, Andrea, this has been a great conversation about marketing, agile, and the use of AI. I really appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to sit down with me and discuss these issues. Thank you.
Yeah, 3 of my favorite topics. Happy to chat about them pretty much anytime.
Well, that's great. That's great. Thanks for the interview, Andrea, and thanks for joining us on the deep dive into Agile Marketing with John Cass. My thanks to Andrea Fryrear, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Deep Dive into Agile Marketing podcast. Be sure and subscribe to our show and leave a review to let us know what you thought of today's episode.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Hennika Watkis-Porter hosts The Entrepreneurial You, empowering entrepreneurs with insights on leadership, business, and success. Hennika, tell listeners what to expect from your show.
So we provide innovative business strategies and practical solutions to common entrepreneurial challenges.
And where can people subscribe?
Find us at hennikawatkisporter.com, as well as the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcasts.net, or search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard her. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.